Hello everyone, today we're going to go ahead and I'm going to go and do a cartoon drawing of a self-portrait of myself here for you guys. And first I'm going to start off with is just go ahead and draw myself the oval for the shape of the head, just to get that general shape in first. Secret to everything here is start general and then get specific as you go. So you notice here I've got myself a nice line here and I've got my head shape in. I'm going to go ahead and put in that vertical and horizontal line. You'll notice here that my head is, for the most part, it looks like the eye line is about just above the midpoint line, right? Just above the midpoint line. So right about there. I'm going to go ahead and put in my eyes. My eyes go halfway between the center and the side of the head. So as my eye number one and eye number two. Now I need to go ahead and put the spacing in for the mouth and the nose. So I'm going to divide that space into thirds roughly. So there's going to be my nose. And I notice on my face, though, my mouth has to be a little bit closer. So I'm going to move it just up a little closer to that line. So I've got that right there. Now, up above here, the spacing above is would be the spacing for my eyebrows would be also be a third of the way above the center line, right about here. And the arc or the high point of that eyebrow is going to happen right in line with that. So you can go ahead and put those in right there. I'm not going to detail them too much. I'm just kind of roughly putting those in. I'll come back in a few minutes and detail those out. So I've got my eyebrows in. The next thing you need to go ahead and do is go ahead and put that mouth in. The mouth, now we know the mouth itself is as wide as, so when you look at yourself in the mirror, you note that the eyes right here, the center of the eye, the side of the mouth, and the chin are all the same. So that being said, I'm going to go ahead and stretch that mouth out. And there we go. Stretch that mouth out to make it as wide as to the center of my eyes, so it lines up. And next I'm going to go and come down, and I'm going to bring that chin out a little bit, because that chin pops out right there in line with the width of the mouth. So I pop that out. Now I'm going to go ahead and sculpt the cheeks a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and bring that in a little bit at the eye, indent, and then go ahead and bring out my cheek a little bit. So again, indent a little bit at the eye, then going around that cheek off, right? So I don't have big jowls, so I don't have big heavy jowls, but I want that to come in fairly smoothly into the cheekbone. The cheekbone in down and coming down for the jowls or the cheeks, coming right into the chin, which is basically going to be the line from here, curving it, stopping at the chin, come back around for the chin, and then back up to the other side. So I pretty much more or less have my head on here. Maybe that top of the head here, I can go ahead and add a little more height to that. I tend to have a taller head up there. There we go. And now I can go ahead and erase some of these setup lines here. There we go. So now I'm pretty close to being finished to having the basic shape of my skull in. Now I need to go ahead and set up that nose. Now one of the things that's important is that the nose itself basically has this sort of curve to it like this. Right, we have that sort of that bulb of the, we call the bulb of the nose. And that's where the part that you want to draw first when you're drawing the nose out, because you want people to see that bulb of the nose. And then afterwards, you have the nostrils. The nostrils are these tight little ovals on either side. Tight little ovals on either side, followed by the nostril, which starts up above and then curves and comes in underneath it. Right there. So that's our nose and nostrils right there. Now this line right here could follow up around the curve and come up and go right into that brow. Right? Go right into that spot right there. Okay. Now I can go ahead and put a little line right here. Put a little line right there. But notice that this side of the nose connects and it goes up, it indents. It doesn't come to the center because we have a bone there. But it comes to the side here and just comes up, makes that curve toward the eyebrow. Now the mouth being wide enough, we have it there. Let's go ahead and put in the eyelids themselves. Now inside the eye, we can draw the black of the pupil inside there. We can go and put that in. But what's kind of key interesting fact is that the tear ducts, which are here, typically somewhere in here, we know where to put them because the tear ducts line up with the sides of the nostrils. So the nostril, if you go straight up, that's where your tear duct is going to be. Nostril, tear duct, right there on the side. So now I've got that, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to cover over the top quarter of the eye. Typically what happens is that with the eye, when we're looking directly at someone, that eyelid is at rest, and it actually covers over the curvature of the top quarter of the eye. Sometimes as much as a third of the eye. And certainly if we're sleepy, it can be covered over half of it. But now it looks like those eyes are sitting right underneath there. Pretty simple. Now the mouth itself, I had these little curved lines coming here and there on either side of my face. And I've got a lot of shrubbery happening down here on the mouth area. So I had to go be able to put that in. So I'm going to erase some of my setup line here and here and kind of remove some of that because I don't need that anymore. I put away those setup lines just to sort of help me get my bearings to make sure that proportionally all the parts of my features are all sort of where they belong, as it were, right? And next I'm going to go ahead and put in that shrubbery down my nose. So I'm going to put in this little patch of hair, got my low, so I kind of curve, and I'll bring it down on either side. But the bottom here, it's kind of wispy, so I'm going to go ahead and break that up a little bit. So I'm going to break that up a little bit, put a little line work in there. There we go. It breaks it up. Now the chin, I've got a little bit of shrub down there too, and that kind of curves and follows this curve that kind of comes up along the to the side of the mouth, right to the edge of the width of that. And this curve runs parallel to the bottom of the chin, and then they got a little bit of curve on here, the curve on there. And we pretty much see that my chin hair does that now, but at the bottom I have that sort of broken line again. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and give it that little choppy line like I gave up here on this other little patch of hair, and just kind of give it a little bit of a random sort of patch. You notice how I curved it so it's all kind of bending inward, bending towards the center. Okay. So now the next thing I need to do is to go back in and put my ears in. Now my ears start at the eye line, go up to the top of the eye, and then come down to the bottom of the nose. So I'll start at the eye line, top of the eye, come down, and come back in at the bottom of the nose. Go ahead and look in the mirror. Your setup, your face is designed exactly the same way. So come up the top of the ear, come down, and back in at the nose. Okay, there we go. So I got my face in there, got my ears, face, all the basic parts in there. Next thing is going to be my glasses. Now glasses have to sort of be one of the last things you put in. Reason being is because glasses are machine made, so they have to be really balanced one side to the other. Glasses also go to the edges of the face, like in the photo there. A lot of people sometimes make the mistake and make the glasses just around the eyes, and it's really too tiny and tight. But glasses are big and wide. They extend out to the sides of the head. They come down, generally the bottom of the frame will come down to right about usually the bottom of your, the top of your nostrils. So they're a pretty expansive space. Also now, what's key important too is to note that the top of the frames, when they put your frames on to fit your frames, what they're looking for is to see that the top of the frame happens halfway between the eyelid and the eyebrow. Okay, so right in this area. So I'm going to go ahead and start off by drawing one side then the other. So I'm going to go ahead and draw one side, right? And I'll bring that over to the edge of the head. Then I'll bring the other side, bring that over to the edge of the head. And I'm going to put in that curve. It's going to happen right there. Now I want to go ahead and bring in the bottom of the frames. They're going to come in right about here. Right. Now I need to curve up and go up into the side, curve down, and then curve the other sides back over and back over. Look at that. This over here. Got my line work. Got my glasses. So I got my glasses pretty well set now on here on the sides of the head. I'm going to come back in and do some inking here. We'll be able to thicken that line up and fill it all in. So now I can go ahead, if I want to, go ahead and put in a few little character wrinkles there and put in a few that are on the top of my head. So I'm pretty good now to go ahead and start to ink my character. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and grab my felt tip pen, and I'm going to go ahead and start to do some inking. And as I do this, I'm going to go ahead and rotate my paper to go ahead and suit my needs here. So let's go ahead and rotate here. So I'll bring in my line work. One side. All right, and then I got the other side here. All right, got my skull in there. And I'm just basically kind of follow my way around the head here. I've kind of got these lines coming around, so I'm going to go kind of light. And kind of light up here. And then for those eyebrows, notice I'm going ahead and just using that tip there. Going to bring that down around. Now I'm going to go ahead and bring in the glasses. Pretty heavy line there. Either side. And bring that line down. And down the other side. And bring that over. I can go back in and finesse that here in a few minutes. And I'm going to go bring in the eyelid and the eyeball. And another eyelid. All. And for the nose here, let's go ahead and put in this little top line up here. Comes around, little dark patch, and then this comes around to get myself that little curve on the nostrils, and bring my ear. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and bring in that line for the cheek, bring that right into there. Okay, and I'm gonna go ahead and bring in that mouth. And bring in this little part of hair that I've got here. And notice that I want to try to make sure to close all these little gaps here so that I don't have any little edges showing. That way when I go back, if I want to color this, well, I certainly can do that a little bit easier without having to do much line correction later on when I get into my digital painting program. Now I go back in the other side of the head here. Okay, the other side of the cheek. And then I have to go back in and get my ear. And the other ear, there, line there. There we have it. So I pretty much have my head drawing in here. So I have myself. Now, one of the things I can do is once I've got this now is I can come back in and do a little bit of tapering with it to add a little bit more to it. So let's say I want to go back in and add in the edge of the glasses here, make that a little thicker on either side there. I want to add that little detail in there. Maybe I'm going to go back in and thicken up the glasses. So I'm going to come back in, just rotate this a little bit, kind of thicken up that line, double the thickness of that line a little bit. And as I'm going back in, I'm doing some of the inking here and making that line a little thicker. There we go. So my glass is a little more prominent. One of the things I can do is I can do a little more tapering on the line work on the head here. So I can go ahead and if I got this line here, I can bring that down a little heavier. It comes into the jowl. Same thing on here. Go ahead and start that up here. And taper that up. So it goes right back into there. So I get a little more weight to the bottom of the face. I do the same thing with the ears. That I can go ahead and bring this line down a little bit. And taper it up. Yeah, get a little more weight to the bottom of that. I certainly have these little lines here on the side of my mouth here. It's on my palette here. So I can go kind of a 1 and 2. There we go. Have those guys in there. On my mouth, I have a little bit of a curve on the lip here. So I can go ahead and just do a little bit. Not too much there. A little bit on the lower lip. Very light with the lips there. So there we go. So I pretty much have this, that. I've got the edge of my glasses out here. I've thickened up those lines. I've got my nose, everything all proportionately set inside there. If I wanted to go ahead and put a little extra line right there, that shows the edge of that nose coming around. Gives a nice little detail there. But there you have it. We have the head, and it's all set up, and you got your inked head, and that's really what you're looking to do. It's very minimal. You notice I don't add a lot of wrinkles. I don't add dimples on there. There's not a lot of extra hairs or individual hairlines. It's a very clean, simple drawing.